Okay, cool. Right. Resin kits are a completely different thing to white metal in as much as obviously the material is different and the process of molding is different. White metal is molded, is generally centrifugally cast in a two-part mold where they put the two parts together and the metal's poured in. But whereas resin, if you look at this piece, for instance, is a one it comes out of a one-piece mold, silicon mold, and there's your pouring points. So it can be, let's say, a block of silicon resin, and then they pour the resin, silicon rubber, sorry, and they pour the resin into the rubber, and then this dries and it comes out. So that's the basic principle. Right? So there's quite a lot of cleaning up to do as far as these little mold blocks are concerned. Now, with resin, you've got to be a bit careful because if you create too much dust, it can be harmful. Right? I'm actually allergic to it now. I've come out in all sorts of funny things. But so I do wear a mask when I'm sawing it. That's why I try not to saw it and tend to cut it rather than use a saw or any other, like a Dremel or anything like that. And it's quite accommodating as far as cleaning up to do. And there on the arm you've got the molding plug. So pardon? Be patient. Be patient. Okay. So here's a little pair of side cutters, same as you for the plastic kit. What you can do is get your scalpel, which I have here, scalpel, 1 watt, number 4 handle, a bit bigger than what Arthur was using, and then just score around it with a point. Just score around the molding point next to the actual piece of the arm or whatever it is. Just cut it off. And then what you can do is you can just you've got a bit of molding stuff there, a bit of molding sprue there. Or you just clean it off with a scalpel. You can scrape it, cut it, and you can just give it a quick sand. Now on some of these parts, when they've molded it, they've cut the mold so they can get the object out. And you might find there's almost a molding line like you would find in white metal, but not all the way around. You very rarely do you ever get that. So just to make sure you clean it properly. I tend to use these on Optivisor. You get them in various strengths. I get these from Cape watchmakers, and they're about $150. You get 3 or 4 different types. Or if you're rich, you can go and get a Tamiya one, which is about $2 grand now. It's up to you. Then just check it out, and you can see where all the various imperfections are. And there's a mold line there, so you can just scrape it off. And then also you can see where it's very sharp around here, just scrape it. If for some reason, which can happen, this bit of we call sprue for a better word, does break part of the original piece out. There's a little indentation there. I use Tamiya putty. It's readily available. It's reasonably cheap. You just put it in place, and off you go. Just leave it for a while, and you just sand it down. It's very accommodating, and it bites into the resin quite nicely. The thing is with Tamiya though, what you've got to realize is or any putty, it does have a shrinkage. So if you're not careful, it might just give you a little bit of a recess in there. So just okay. So now we've got basically one clean piece. You've got a big lump here. That's quite a big molding thing. Now normally I'll take this to work and just bung it on the sander, but most people haven't got that. So you get a little razor saw. I do little things. I don't know where you get them from now, but you know, Tammy will do one and various things. So just line it up. And just saw around. Okay, you can smell it now. And it's got quite a nasty smell. That's when you start using the mask, which I keep forgetting to do. But it's just a cheap mask you get from wherever. You know, it doesn't work anymore. Okay, that was a cheap mask. It's an old mask. That's why it's not working. But anyway, but you can get them, buy them in the box and then like that. Or you can get one of those expensive ones that make you look like something like Darth Vader or something. Yeah, yeah. But it's basically when you're making dust, and like I say, especially if you're using a Dremel or a sander that throws the dust out and it makes the dust very fine, and it can be quite dangerous. This is one of the biggest drawbacks with resin, with resin of any sort, whether it be airplanes or ships or tanks or whatever, is the mold in plugs. You know, especially big ones. But there you go. That's off, and then you can just sculpt it away. That just comes off quite nicely with a scalpel, or you can sand it. The problem is if you sand it, and why don't you use a sanding block? Is you pretend that was a sanding block. When you do this, what you do is because you've never got 100% control of a sanding block. If you do it by hand, you end up with a bit of a curve. You can do it like that, which is better, but you still end up with a bit of a curve on the object. So if it's a crucial fit where you've got to have two flat surfaces, it's best not to sand, and you're better off just carving it away like this. Takes a bit of time, but once it's done, it's done. Just leave that for now. Okay. Now I'm going to glue this part to this figure now. Okay, you've got to get alignment, which is what Arthur said, but generally these things aren't easy to align. With white metal kits, they seem to be better engineered to fit than resin kits do. Whereas the resin kit seems to go on the actual fold of the arm or the construction of the jacket or whatever it is, whereas a white metal kit will fit into something else. It just seems to be the way they do, or something that even have locating lumps where it just locks in place. So you've got to be that much more careful with resin, I find, in general. And also the quality depends on the quality as well. I mean, this model here is this midshipman, Napoleonic midshipman from say Trafalgar. That's all you get with it. It comes in a bag of bits in this picture. You know, that's it. You don't get any paint instructions. You get nothing. So you can't even go on the website because all they do is they have this on the website. These are relatively cheap models. They're a company called Mitch's Models. I see what he does. He tries to get them out as cheap as possible so people will buy more. It makes them more accessible. You can buy 4 of these busts for £100. Okay, so it's obviously £100 is a lot of money now, exchange rate, but it's not bad for a bust. It works out at about £25 a bust. Whereas you go to something like this is from Stormtroopers, actually sculpted by the same person, but for two different companies. This you get proper instructions. You get it's beautifully made. There's not the flash that you get on these Mitch's models. Now, when you say flash on a resin kit, it's where the mold has been used too many times, and you get little fissures in the rubber, and it's actually those fissures are reproduced in the resin kit. So you got to, like I say, these Mitch's models, you've got to go around the whole thing and clean it so well. That kelp there, there's like 1, 2, 3. There's about 5 parts in that model, but because that main body with the legs and the feet, excuse me, with one piece, there's all these little fissures all over the place, and it takes so much cleaning up. And sometimes you can't even see it when you primed it. You know, you've got to actually it picks up every now and again when you're painting it. You think, oh no, not another one. So that's just one of the. That's also a drawback of resin when they use them too many times. And sometimes you'll even find a little bit of rubber from the mold trapped in some crevice in the kit. You know, one company that is very good at making their molds last is Berlinden. Berlinden's figures, if you look at them, they're very smooth, and the detail is not. It's not as sharp as a lot of the newer kits. And what they do is they make the model as smooth as possible, the parts as smooth as possible, with not too many undercuts, so that rubber mold lasts a long time. So there's no, you don't have to tug it to get the parts out. That's one of it. But I mean, this one, the detail is first class, is undercuts and everything. But once again, it's Mitch's model, so some of the parts are not that good. And also its packaging is up the shit. It really is bad news. But anyway, that's beside the point. Okay, glue in resin. Also, you can pin if you want to, but generally there's not a lot of weight with a resin model, so you don't have to worry about pinning so much unless you want that flexibility where you can actually, as Arthur said, which is a very good idea. You know, you want to change the position of that arm, or you want to move that arm around, so it is in the right position. Where with the pinning, you can actually do that. Sometimes it's quite difficult to find out where the arm should be, but if you look at this one, you look at the profile of that, and you look at the profile of this, they should match. So it's very easy. Resin, when you glue it together, you should always make sure that you don't glue together two molded surfaces. Right? When I say that, that's as it comes out the mold. So there is a piece, there is an area that's got to be glued. Right? That's come out the mold as it is. We took the molding block off there. That's also a smooth area that's come straight out the mold. The super glue does not like it. For some reason, it doesn't eat into the resin with that surface. So it's best if you just give it a quick scrape. Takes that almost a molding gloss off it. Just give it a quick sand. A quick sand. Right? Now, so those two are ready to go together. There's two types of super glue I use. There's medium thickness, which globulates. Let's just find a piece of scrap here. It's quite thick. That's quite thick. Then there's the very ultra thin. Okay, see how thin it is. It is extremely thin. Martin taught me a very good tip. Is if you put this stuff onto tape, more than anything, it does sort of like it does globulate, and it sits in one place. So you can use some form of stick or whatever you want to put that on the model, but that's at a later stage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the thicker super glue. I'm going to put a little dollop on there, line it up, check it's all right. Now, because we only put a small amount on there, it can come apart. Right, so we'll just line it up. Without sticking my fingers to it. You're very patient. Okay, and then where's my bottle? Yeah. And just let that dry. Right. Now it's not a very strong joint. It's not a very strong joint at all. It's just on that central piece. So what you can do is get a. I use I think it's called rose wire from the florist. This stuff. Right, pick up a little bit of super glue on the end, and then just rub it around. Just let it flow around. Sometimes, yeah, yeah, well, yeah. That's one of the beauties of that. So there, that's all you do. And this stuff has such a nice capillary action. It just flows in. Yeah, so there you go. Right. Now we've got not a bad joint. It's not the best in the world, but it needs to be filled. Um, you could possibly use paint, but what I use is my favourite stuff, not filler. Don't use filler. It's horrible. Right? Is methylene chloride. Pardon? I get it from work. From my source. Right. Pardon? It doesn't. It doesn't work on resin. This is the so this is where one of the beauties of it. This is one of the beauty. This is one of the beauties of it. Right. Here I have an old bit of plastic kit sprue. Here I have methylene chloride. You just paint it on there. Paint it on there until you get almost like a thin sludge. You paint it in. Just paint it in the gap. So you don't have to sand it. You don't have to do anything with it. Just flows in. It just fills that gap nicely. You can use sprue to melt, or you can use plastic card, or whatever an ABS type plastic. Pardon? Nope. It just fills it nicely, and then you don't even, there's no sanding. You know, it's such a thin it's such a thin thing. Yeah. Just on that joint. On the arms. That's all you do. So not only is it good for sticking plastic kits together, it's also good for a multitude of other things. I'm not trying to sell this, by the way, but it just works. Yeah, it's cheaper than Tamiya's as well. a lot cheaper. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 It comes in a little brown bottle like that. Sorry. This is my lovely stuff. I love it. Okay. Pardon? Okay. Let. Okay. Keep it in the brown bottle like this. For some reason, the brown bottle works better than any other color, right? Yeah. I just keep tape on it, and it just stops the evaporation. Um, keep it in a cool place. Yeah. Keep it in a cool place. Um, these are little dispensers. It's just this little dispenser here. So you just press that, and enough stuff comes out. All right. When you're not using it, put that back in the bottle, um, and hide it away. It's carcinogenic. It causes cancer. Right? If you sit over it all day long and sniff it all the time for 24 hours a day for all your life, but I've been using it since I was about 10 years old, and I'm just as nuts as I am because of this. Right? But health-wise, it's fine. Okay. So you don't have to worry about it. If you splash it in your eye or in your hand or anything like that, just open your eyes, open your hand, or it gets in there or gets in a cut. Just open it so it evaporates out. It evaporates very quickly. So it's like hell, but that's all. Very temporary. But it's like anything. I mean, if you get paint in your eyes, it can hurt like hell. So, yeah, but it's wonderful stuff. I say for plastic kits, it's great stuff. But for that sort of filling, where's it gone? Where's the little figure gone? Okay. Yeah. It's ideal, and it works for white metal as well. You can, on white metal, it just flows. If you've got a join there or a seam, just paint it in. That's all you need. That's all you need to do. It's very simple. Okay. Resin, and once again, is it's easy to use. It's easy to paint. Um, you can I just use Tamiya Grey Primer or Tamiya White Primer, depends on whatever you want. You can use Arthur's nice stuff there. You can use any primer. Um, the biggest drawback against resin as opposed to white metal is if you stuff it up, you can't just drop the metal into the resin lacquer thinners like you can with white metal and take the paint off. You know, you just have to reprime it and off you go again. Um, whereas, like say, white metal, it does have that nice thing as Rob found. If you're not happy with it, just drop it in lacquer thinners, paint just comes off, and you can start all over again. You know. Okay. If you see all the paint coming off, you get too excited, then yeah. Hmm? Yeah. Pardon? Step, yeah. Step, yeah. Well, lacquer thinners is just handy because you use it for mixing paint as well. So cleaning airbrushes and all sorts. That's also methylene chloride is fantastic for cleaning airbrushes and fantastic for cleaning paintbrushes. So if you're painting with acrylic, and you find there's a build-up, or even oils, there's a build-up of paint. You tend to find it builds up in the between the ferrule and the thing. Yeah, yeah. So, but if you put it in, just keep it in there. Just put it in there. It just flows off. Your brush will last 2 or 3 times longer. It works. And also, you can put it through an airbrush. Obviously, point. But yeah, but you can put it. Like I say, put it through an airbrush if you want to clean your airbrush nicely. Wonderful stuff. As long as you spray it away from where you've got a well ventilated place. But it's I mean this brush here, it's that's acrylic paint. Once again, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to sell methylene chloride, but this is coming across that way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, it's nice now, and that's okay. If you can see that black, that's all come out of the brush. You know, let it evaporate. That's it. And that's about it with resin. Questions? Cleaning resin. Yep. Soapy water. Sunlight liquid. Same as you would do with a white metal kit or a plastic kit. You should always wash them before you paint them. Putting a slightly different way to doing things than Arthur does it. I like to put a model, if possible, on its base as soon as possible, whether it's painted or not, because then you can handle it. And one of the nice things about resin is, if you can pick it up, you don't need muscles like Arthur. Sorry. Yeah, but I mean, like this kid, for instance. I mean, this thing here. It's very light. It's probably weighs the same as one of your 75mm figures. The whole thing, and that is one of the beauties of them. But if you can construct as much as possible, and then put it on its base, then that's easy to work with. And that little base there is just it's this stuff. This stuff here called foam board. I think I gave somebody away. So it didn't actually come with a base. So you get some foam board and you can carve this. You can carve it and you can shape it and sand it and do whatever you want to do. That's another base thing for you can sand it, but you can stick your model to it. Work on it so you've got something to play with. And what I like to do as well, when at a later stage when you get so far through the model, is work on the model at eye level. Like that, for instance, you get to a stage where you can't keep doing this all the time with your hand or whatever one you want to hold it with. If you just raise something up to eye level, and then you can get in and touch everything up, and you never need to touch it. And that works a treat. What else is there? Oh, something else. Yes. Yeah, you put resin in hot water and bend it. You get. I mean, this. Is it this one? I think the rifle was so bent. Okay, it's not bad. It's like somebody's willy. Look at it. Yeah. So it's so bent. Whereas if you put this in hot water, you should be able to, and then just run it under a cold tap straight away. That'll get it straight. Um, again, you back to Mitch's models again. It's such a shame that they give you such horrible big molding plugs. I mean, look at that. I mean, right on a very fine part. But it's if you get your scalpel and just make sure you score around the base or the joint between the sprue and the part, you should be able to just break it apart. There you go. Now you just got a little piece. You just got a little piece left. That's all you need. That's all you need to. I don't know if anybody wears glasses. Do they? Do they wear glasses when they're modelling or anything? Yeah. Okay. I don't know what cleaning device. I'm deviating now. I like deviating. Whatever you do for cleaning glasses and cleaning plastic or anything like this, not Dettol. Stay soft. Stay soft. If you get one of these spritzers, a third stay soft, and the rest water. Absolutely fabulous. Just quick. No, it's not like Windoline. Windoline smears. Windoline, yeah. This doesn't, and it works on perspex. I mean, on your computer screens, your tablets, your cell phones. Stay soft, and it's cheap. You know, I mean, it's 24. What is it? 24 rand or 17 rand for a thing? You just put some in the bottom of there. Off you go. And you've got. It's not the opposite to Viagra, please. It's not the opposite to Viagra. No. There you go, perfect. You know, so I always have. You know, I mean, you know, you're always doing this, picking things up and whatever. Stay soft. Dispenser, yeah. These things. I get them. I buy them from a nail bar. But I mean, here they are. Here, a nail bar. Yeah. Also, I say I'm a cheapskate. I just realised I'm a cheapskate. I won't pay. Like, I'm not rich like Arthur who buy stuff from Squadron Signal. No, seriously. Those little file things. Go to a nail bar and buy them there. They're cheap. No. That's all. Okay. Thank you very much.